I did something bad, good, I don't know. It's May. It feels like October. So, I'm cheating on my novel. Hi there, I'm Nicole Wilbur. Welcome back to my channel. And you know the feeling when you're writing a project and maybe it's the second or third draft, maybe you're just in the middle and you think, God, this sucks. And this other idea that's just back in my head there, it would be so much easier, so much faster, so much more fun. Maybe I should just, yep, that is what is happening with me. So I'm supposed to be, right now, according to my schedule, writing The Nutcracker Effect, which is a book I've already written, so I'm working on the second draft of it. I reverse outlined it, so I wrote it last year. I reverse outlined it over the winter, finished that up in February. I sent it to an editor for like an outline critique. And then of course, I sat down to write it a couple weeks ago. And it just feels so hard. Like I look at what's in the outline, and when I made the outline, I was like, absolutely, this is great, perfect. This makes total sense. But I'm looking at it and I'm just like, this doesn't feel high stakes enough. This doesn't feel competitive enough. Compelling enough. This doesn't feel like the right thing for my character to be doing. And getting the right dynamics has been very challenging. Finally kind of got there with his opening and his second scene, and now I'm on the third. One of the things that I keep coming up against with him is like, my instinct is to plan the scene and to start with, you know, he's caught pulling a prank and he's like, oh, ugh, whoops, like, let me hide this. Or he's the outsider in a new environment and he's like, ooh, like, I feel awkward. But the thing is, that's not the character. The character, if you look at all my adjectives, is like, I'm not scared. Like, I totally got this. Like, I can totally be in a play. Like, I belong here. Like, he's much more like, I don't know if that makes him sound like arrogant or whatever, but he's just like fun and easygoing. And yes, he has interiority that is vulnerable and is like, I am so scared. But his outward needs to be like, woo, like, I'm into this, I'm fun, blah, blah, blah. So remembering that has been helpful, but I keep like, I've written a lot of words, none of which are actually in the book. I keep writing and being like, that's crap, and writing and being like, that's crap. That's not quite the scene. And maybe I just have to be kind of content with slow progress. But here's the thing. The third scene of my book was supposed to be one of the characters kind of chatting in a dance studio with his friends and like hiding something. He just came from a secret hookup and he's like hiding the fact that he had this hookup. And I was like, this is not working. I started trying to write it and I was just like, no. So then I changed it around and I made it so he's basically almost caught sneaking away from his hookup. I wrote it, I was like, this is great. And then I realized that the scene before that had also been a character sneaking around, pulling a prank and getting caught. And I was like, oh crap, like I have the exact same dynamic right in a row. That's not good. And so then you're like, okay, well, how do I change this? And so I think it's normal. It's normal to play with things. So for that second scene, I was like, maybe the love interest doesn't catch him. Maybe she's playing the prank with him. Didn't work. Then I said, okay, maybe she catches him, and this is where I had a breakthrough. Maybe she catches him and he expects her to be like, ooh, you. And instead, she's like really cool about it and kind of like comes to help. So I've been working my way through it, playing a little bit with expectation and surprise. This is something that Stacey Lyra likes to talk about a lot. Obviously, I used to really focus, and I still do focus, on what does my character want in this scene and what is the conflict keeping them from getting it, right? Very important. However, it wasn't working enough to make me feel like things were compelling and interesting. And so I started really playing with expectation and surprise. So the character expects, main character, Lewis, he expects one thing when he's caught by this girl because he has a certain expectation and assumption about who she is. And then it's something completely different. That was really interesting to write, to have the character expects something and has something completely different happen. So that was helpful. Getting through that has been helpful, but it keeps coming up. So I figured out those scenes, and then I thought to myself, okay, switching POVs, because this book is 5 POVs, switching POVs every chapter, maybe I'm like losing the momentum in the voice. So I went and I decided I was going to write the next few scenes for Lewis, for my pranking guy. And I started to do that, and I was like, okay, how do I get into this scene? I'm like, that's crap. So I'll just like write a few hundred words and then just move it immediately over into the I'm not using this like X revision side of my screen and start again. And it was just, it felt a little bit like pulling teeth. And so then I was walking my dog and I was thinking about first lines, because I recently took a course about beginnings, and how a lot of first lines, I don't know where this came from, but I was like, a lot of first lines are about bodies or murder. And then one came to me for an idea I had 2 years ago that I've been playing with, and I've been playing with over time, over those 2 years. I decided to write the Nutcracker effect instead because I wanted to broaden, because my other idea was another heist. And I was like, well, if I have a really hard time getting an agent or selling a heist book, I don't want there to be just another heist book that I have. Maybe I'll do this romance one. At the same time, I had the dilemma of like, well, if I was able to get an agent and sell a heist book, I would need to sell another heist book. However, so I decided to work on the Nutcracker effect and draft it up. And I've been debating, like, do I do the second draft of the Nutcracker effect, or do I go to this other project? And I said, I'm going to do the second draft of the Nutcracker effect so I can get it ready for beta readers in the fall, around Christmassy time, or even before that, have it all nice. And the first line is something to the effect of the monkeys found the body, or the monkeys were the first to find the body. And just like that, the whole book came to me. Like, I don't know if I've ever had this happen before, where just all of a sudden, there's the book. Like, obviously there's things that still need to be figured out. There are things that need to be figured out. There are some like logistical questions in there that need to be worked out. However, like, I have a huge chunk of notes. I just sat down and I like outlined the entire first act for sure, but the whole story, the scenes were just coming to me, and I was writing, and like the names of the characters were coming to me. I didn't even have to Google baby names. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I'm so excited to write this. This is so fun. And I said, well, I should really be, going back and working on the Nutcracker effect, because I'm supposed to be doing that. And shiny new idea. Oh, this one's going to be so much easier than my other ones. Why don't I just write this one, blah, blah, blah. However, it seemed kind of stupid to stop the endless flow of words and excitement about the new book to just sit there and feel frustrated in the existing one. And so I've switched. It's funny, I just finished 1,000 words for the day, just finishing off this one chapter. It's the second chapter in the book, and basically it's where like the rival love interest by the end is introduced. Kind of the last line is it's her, and the last line is my character kind of explaining to her, is saying to someone, I wasn't actually caught, I was stabbed in the back, and then she sees the face of the other character and says, by her. I think it's a pretty good ending line, but it just made me think like how you do have to think in a story, there's different challenges that come with like how well your characters knew each other beforehand. So the book that I'm querying now, my character literally just like meets basically the entire cast in the book. Whereas in this story, the whole main cast, the character has known before the book, and she has a lot of like history and stuff with them, especially the person who just arrived. It's like second chance romance kind of. I haven't written it yet, so we'll see, because we seem to be pantsing this, but anyways, I've had this like moment in mind for a long time. And it's just funny how like it gives you a lot of juice and a lot of things for them to talk about. And so you're kind of like building from a foundation. Of course, I actually don't know what the foundation is. I'm just assuming it's there. But it's an interesting dynamic to write. It's interesting to look at the differences, because versus like someone seeing someone for the first time versus someone seeing someone again, after, for the manyth time after however long. And it's interesting. It's certainly interesting to write about. Like when you have new characters, you have to worry about the audience keeping them straight. You still have to do that. But you have to like create grounds for the character to have relationships with all of them. And that takes time. But if they already have existing relationships, like relational connections, you can kind of leverage those and you're sort of thrown into those being there, and you get to like already have a dynamic versus establish one. And you get to already have like secrets and conflict between them versus like trying to figure out what that will be. It's super interesting. I'm excited to write it. I'm really excited to write the next scene where they see each other for the first time after they got each other kicked out of boarding school. This is such a fun book. Oh my God. Okay, so I am taking a break from writing, and also, my break from writing started hours ago, but I'm going to this writing day workshop conference in June, and I signed up for some agent pitch sessions, and they added a whole bunch of agents since when I signed up. So I'm just like going and researching all the agents that represent YA and figuring out like who I want to pitch to. So I have a top 2, and then I have like 4 others to fill my other slot. So I just had to force myself to pause the research and be like, okay, we've done some research. I'll come back and make the final decision tomorrow, probably after I scan everybody's publisher's marketplace profile, I'm thinking. But that is not the news I came on here to talk about. I just got an email. So the Oxford University and Cambridge, actually, and lots of universities, I guess, do continuing education that's open to anybody. You don't actually have to like go to the school. You just pay a fee and you can enjoy like courses from their professors on their campuses, live there, etc. Obviously you pay tuition, but it's like really cool, adult learning. And they have a creative writing course. Oxford does. That's 3 weeks. And they have a normal stream, like an open stream, and then they have an advanced stream. And the advanced stream has like more specific seminars, including children's, like young adult, and playwriting, or script writing, I think it's called. So I applied like a month ago, and I got the letter today that I got in. So I had to submit like a personal statement and writing samples and all that kind of stuff. And I got into the advanced seminar pool. So I am so excited about that. It's very expensive. I'm gonna be in the UK anyways, which is why it makes sense to begin with. But I do have to like run the money a little bit and figure out if I can actually afford this and like kind of do a cost value check on it. We have a car. Do a cost value check on it, but I'm really excited, and I think I'm probably gonna do it because it's Oxford, and I've always wanted to do like the UK university experience. So we'll see. I'm so excited though. It's very exciting that I like get the opportunity, and I think I'm probably gonna do it. It's May. It feels like October. I have a tea and a blanket. All right, so I'm not sure what I mentioned in the last vlog, but I just finished, I've been jumping around in the new project, Project Coley, I guess I'm calling it for now, after the main character. I probably need a better name for it, gotta brainstorm some code names, but I'm not gonna do that now because instead I'm going to write. I have about 6,000 words in this project now. I just finished chapter 2. But I have a bunch of words like later in Act 1. My goal was to finish Act 1 last weekend. It's now Wednesday, that's not a weekend, but so maybe I can finish Act 1 this week. This next chapter I'm very excited about. It is a confrontation. It's basically the main character, her friend, who we just found out she got kicked out of boarding school because of, or like got this friend. My main character got expelled from boarding school. It was because a friend kind of betrayed her. That's what she just said at the end of the last chapter. And the friend who just betrayed her just showed up in the Costa Rican rainforest at the funeral of this scientific director. It's very complicated, but basically they're in the rainforest. Her father is a veterinarian at a primate research center in Costa Rica. And she was sent to boarding school to, like, as lots of kids who are raised out of like North America, but who are from North America are. and then she got kicked out of it, and the girl from her past who she got kicked out of is now here. So I get to write that scene. I'm excited for the scene. There's a lot that has to happen in this scene, like we have to have the reaction, and then they kind of have to like band together in order to go eavesdrop on something. Anyways, this is fun because I'm pantsing. I am completely flying by the seat of my pants. I am not a pantser. I'm not a pantser at all, so the fact that I'm pantsing is just, I guess I'm having an identity crisis. If someone asked me whether I'm a plotter or a pantser right now, I think I might implode. But anyways, we're writing and it's gonna be fine. If you do YouTube, do you ever notice that someone comes by with a lawnmower or a leaf blower the exact moment you decide to sit down and start filming? Because me. This cottage is beautiful, but there are ticks out here. I pulled a tick out from against my neck earlier, and so now I'm so paranoid. The ticks are terrible this year, not even just up north like where we live, where there's it's not even true wilderness, it's just like the suburbs. The ticks have been so bad. So I'm like outside writing and I see all these bugs and I'm like, oh, please don't be a tick, because that is not a fun thing to wake up to, particularly it was in the morning and I know that it was on me all night. Ugh. Oh dear. Okay, I've now written like 5 words, 100 words. And I'm trying to decide what I want to do with this scene. Basically, my character is hiding with her friend. They're worried about getting caught doing something. And then her dad and the ambassador to Costa Rica and the ambassador to Costa Rica's daughter, who is the friend from boarding school, are like walking through. So they're hiding, my character, Colleen, is hiding from them. She doesn't want to get in trouble. And so I'm like debating, what has to happen is Colleen has to have a confrontation with Izzy, the boarding school expelled partner in crime, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do I want them to be one-on-one? Do I want them to be in a group? There's a lot of things that have to happen here. The catalyst for this whole story, this is kind of like our inciting incident, is what she's about to overhear between a conversation between the ambassador and her dad. I think she needs to meet Izzy first though, and they have to patch things up and talk. So the question is, does that happen right now in front of all the parents? Or does that happen later? And what I'm thinking of is they could have a signal and she could play the signal somehow and get Izzy to stay behind to talk to her. Or they could have the confrontation in front of the parents, which could also be very interesting. I don't know which one's better. I have to think about it. Pantsing. It's great fun. Okay, so that was a 2.5-hour writing session. More like 2 hours, I think, when you finally, consider, getting distracted and the fact that it took a while to settle in and settle down. I've got about 1,000 words. And this is interesting to me because usually when I was drafting a year or 2 ago, I could write 1,000 words in an hour. So the fact that it took double the time is odd to me, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm pantsing, if it's because I'm making it cleaner than I would. I'm definitely fiddling around with it and doing less just I don't know, blah 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 blah, skipping big chunks. I'll still write description, but it is really hard after having done so much editing on a piece I did for Some Kind of Criminal, to suddenly be yeah, I'm okay with a messy first draft. I'm no, this must be good. I can write better than this. This must be good. So yeah, that's interesting. An interesting one to do, but I think it would be great if I could just write this book as fast as possible while it's so fresh in my mind and just go, but it doesn't seem to be coming as fast as I'm hoping it would. If I can build up momentum though, I'm here at this beautiful cottage for a month. If I can build up some momentum over this month though, and just aim for at least 1,000 words a day, every day, and just really dig in, I think I can maybe get there. Obviously 1,000 words a day won't be a book, but I feel I can do more than 1,000 if I just get into the rhythm of it. Until, of course, and unless I get totally stuck and have to stop and plot out the story, which could be a possibility that could happen. Yeah. well, that's it for now. Hopefully I'll do some more writing tonight. It's interesting when I'm actually writing it too, because I kind of had an outline in my head for this story of like what the scene was going to be, but then I'm actually writing a scene and I'm like, well, the rhythm is I have to like end this here and then have another scene to accomplish what actually needs to be done. Like we've just had this scene is just a lot of tension, and then the next scene is the actual confrontation. And so I have a few, I'm like, it's taking a while to get to the things that I need to get to. And I'm also not confident I'm starting in the right place because, as previously mentioned, I had an idea for a first line and was like, all right, we're doing it, and just started writing it without really thinking about, you know, where I'm starting, etc., etc. But it's a first draft, it's okay. I'm just trying to like get the story out. So yeah, now we're going for a walk because I have taken 400 steps today and it's 3:30 and I need to take more. All right, so that is it for today's vlog. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit the button below. Thank you so much. And we're gonna see a lot more cottage writing as I try to fast draft this book. See you next time.